Well, howdy there, folks. We have some big subjects to speak about in today's video. I just did the unthinkable in regards to good old Tesla, my Tesla here today. We got to speak about Palantir. We have some information regarding potential S&P 500 inclusion that I think everybody should consider. So a very important subject in regards to that, because obviously a lot of folks are excited about the potential Palantir S&P 500 inclusion. So we want to speak about that in today's video. We got to speak about Meta. There's some things going viral in regards to Meta right now that I think everybody should be paying attention to. Bunch of other stocks we got to talk about, a bunch of other things going on in the market. It's a busy time, folks. We're getting into earnings season now. It's busy from here on out for the next many weeks. I appreciate everybody being here as always. Thank you so much for being subscribed, folks. And let's get straight into this. So where we want to start out here is a heat map of the S&P 500 here today, okay? And it was a bit of a mixed bag day. You know, you had some green out there, you had some red out there. It was a better day for me, I would say, than kind of like the S&P 500 and the indexes in general, because a lot of small caps were doing very well today. But there's one stock that stuck out to me like a sore thumb, okay? What stock do you think it is when I looked at that heat map, okay? Right there, okay, NVIDIA. What the heck is going on with NVIDIA? Stock down almost 5 percentage points here today. That is such a huge underperformance versus like basically any other stock in the market pretty much today. That's an insane drop. Well, what happened? Here's what happened. Biden cuts China off from more NVIDIA chips, expands curbs to other countries, right? So the thought process is the current administration wants to keep at bay basically China in regards to their AI chips. And so they don't want NVIDIA selling their high-end chips basically to China, okay? And there's a whole situation, and you have analysts out there that believe that NVIDIA was going to sell 15 to 20% of their basically AI-related chips to China next year, actually in 2024, right? So this is something that gives a lot of people worry and like, oh my gosh, could NVIDIA's, let's call it shipments of AI chips drop next year if they're not able to sell some of these chips? And there's already been some bans kind of in place in regards to this, okay? Now, let's just think about this for a little moment here, guys, okay? Let's just use our brains for a moment, all right? All right, everybody, let's just think, okay? How could China get around this? Well, imagine you set up a company in some other country, right? And you start ordering a bunch of NVIDIA AI chips, right? And you got the money to go ahead and do that. And then imagine you go ahead and resell those to either another company somewhere else, or you resell those directly into China. So you're kind of like a middleman facilitating the whole deals, right? Not something that is certainly impossible at all to imagine, right? And so then there's just a middleman or another middleman, or maybe there's 3 middlemen so you don't flag anything, right? But believe me, if China wants to get their hands on these NVIDIA AI chips, there's many ways you can do it outside of just buying directly from NVIDIA. You can buy through other folks, right? And the way I think about it like this, right? In the United States of America, there's a lot of stuff that's illegal, right? There's a lot of stuff that's illegal. And yet, look at how much stuff that is illegal gets into the United States of America all the freaking time, okay? Heck, it's supposed to be illegal to come into the United States unless you got your paperwork right. People come in the United States all the time by the millions, right? So think about that for a moment. Like, you think it's going to be impossible for China to get their hands on the AI chips? Like, come on, man. At the end of the day, if there's corporations inside China that want to get their hands on those AI chips, they're going to get their hands on it, okay? That's just bottom line with that. You can say it's illegal. You can try to do these things, but at the end of the day, it's going to come flooding in the country. That's just the way it is, okay? And so, you know, it was almost, I saw that and I'm like, it's comical to me. It's comical. That's the best way I could put it, okay? Now, in regards to NVIDIA, they did a poll. So while I was on my live stream today on my new Twitch channel, right? Which, by the way, that was a crazy live stream. Like, I was shocked by how many people were on the live stream the other day. It's like building day after day after day. I'm like, holy smokes. So they did a poll on CNBC here today. There was a part I was reacting to, essentially, okay? And the poll was, you know, investors feel like this is a buy the dip opportunity in NVIDIA? And basically the poll came out almost at 50-50. So then they, you know, kind of asked people in the chat, hey, what do you guys think? Is today a day to buy NVIDIA stock or not buy NVIDIA stock? And it seemed like about 50-50 in regards to people that were watching the live stream as well, which is just a fascinating market we're in right now, where it's just, you know, people are so divided on NVIDIA stock, right? But you go ahead and take a peek at NVIDIA, right? We're trading about 42 times this year's expected numbers for NVIDIA, right? Which their fiscal year ends in January. So really it's their 2023 numbers, right? trading about 42 times this year's numbers, 27 times next year's numbers. If they keep up these growth rates, that's way too low a value. Now, if NVIDIA growth rates completely collapse, then you can say that's fair value, right? 27 times. Okay, that's fair. But if they keep up anywhere remotely close to these sorts of growth rates, folks, NVIDIA is actually a very, very undervalued stock here today. And so anyways, fascinating times. Who knows? Maybe I'm making a move on NVIDIA at some point in time. I've actually considered it here recently. You know, I know the stock's up so much this year, but it's irrelevant. The bottom line is, are you getting a good deal on the stock over the next 3 to 5 years? That's all that matters at the end of the day. It doesn't matter if it's up this much or that much. The business has fundamentally changed for NVIDIA this year. Last year, you were looking at a company that had revenues, you know, flat or declining. This year, you're looking at a company that's revenues are skyrocketing, like to ridiculous levels that you can't even like believe, right? So, I mean, some people have such trouble believing these numbers that, you know, the short sellers always think NVIDIA is making up the numbers or something like that. So, anyways, that's that, okay? Now, something came out very important in regards to the Federal Reserve fight here today, okay? So, these are the retail sales numbers that came out this morning, all right? For September, the advance in monthly sales were up 0.7%. Now, from what I saw, a consensus estimate on Wall Street was like 0.3%. So what does that mean? What does that mean? That means a consumer that is supposed to be dead and done is actually doing far better than really anybody on Wall Street had anticipated, right? And they also revised the August number up to 0.8, right? So it's like just an all-around banger number for kind of retail sales and for like the whole, like, oh, the consumer's done, recession, they're not going to spend anymore, they're tapped out. I mean, I've been hearing about the consumers tapped out for a year now. Literally a year. The consumers tapped out, they're tapped out, they're tapped out. Well, how do these companies keep putting up these earnings? Well, how do these sales numbers keep coming in the way they are, right? Have you seen the restaurant earnings last year when the consumer is supposed to be tapped out? Doesn't seem like it. Doesn't seem like it. And speaking about restaurants, this was one of the most important things I saw, right? So non-store retailers were up 8.4%, 1.6% from last year, while food services and drinking places were up 9.2%, right? A huge increase from September 2022 as well, which is great news for the restaurants because once again, if the consumer is supposed to be tapped out, then they shouldn't be spending money at restaurants, right? Sit-down restaurants where you go and you spend, you know, $15, $20, $25, $30. Yeah, it seems like things are still holding up pretty strong. And obviously, I looked at stocks here today, right? And Cheesecake Factory had a great day. I mean, that's a great day for Cheesecake Factory, 4.4%. So you keep having these recession fears mount up. The consumer's done. The consumer's tapped out. And it's just not adding up when you look at the actual data. When you look at the numbers. I wouldn't be surprised if Cheesecake Factory reports a very freaking good number. I think Texas Roadhouse is going to report a very good number. I think those companies are going to still be growing. And I think, you know, restaurant sales are very strong for those companies. We'll see. We'll see in the numbers, but that's just my hunch in regards to the situation. Now, a lot of people saw that number here today, and they started getting scared, actually. And so you actually saw bonds start to tick up. You saw a lot of stocks tick down. And a lot of people are very concerned, right? They're saying this is bad for the Federal Reserve. Retail sales being too hot. Restaurant sales being too hot. The consumer still has money. This is bad, 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 bad for the Federal Reserve. This screws them. This puts them in a horrible position. Okay, that's what people are saying out there. Let's think about this a little more intelligently. Okay, let's take out your emotions for a moment and let's use our brains. Okay, let me ask you this question. Has inflation been defeated yet? I hope everybody watching this video right now says no. Inflation has not been beat yet. We're making a lot of progress on inflation, but we haven't won yet. The game's not over yet. We're doing a lot better, and maybe we're in the fourth quarter, but the game's not over yet, right? And when you look at CPI data, it's clear as day, like we haven't won yet, right? CPI is at 3.7%, so we're getting close, but we're not to the 2% number. I'll tell you what the Fed's worst nightmare would be. The Fed's worst nightmare would be if those retail sales came in way lower than expectations, came in as, oh man, the consumer's in a horrible spot, we're going to have a big recession here, okay? Now, why would that be so bad? Let me explain. If that would put the Federal Reserve in a situation where they would have to start lowering rates, being that, oh my gosh, the recession's here, job loss is coming, blah, 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 okay? That you do not want to have to start lowering rates when you haven't even beat the dragon yet. The dragon of inflation, you haven't defeated it yet. So the worst case scenario is you go into a recession, job losses start coming, you have to start cutting rates big to save the economy, right? and especially going into election year, you have to try to save the economy. Meanwhile, you're in a predicament where suddenly, let's just call it, you haven't beat inflation. And you risk having a bad economy with job losses, and you're trying to cut interest rates, and meanwhile, you got sticky inflation that you haven't truly defeated. That's the worst case scenario, folks. That's the worst case scenario. Okay? Then you worry about stagflation, you worry about all types of things, okay? That would not be good. So, to put it to you best, this is actually very, very good. The fact that the consumer is still holding up, and the fact that we have inflation getting in a better place is actually much better news than, I can tell you, we have a recession right now when you haven't defeated inflation. No. We can have a recession once inflation's done. Then you can say, okay, the Fed can cut rates, they can do this, they can start quantitative easing, all that stuff, okay, which is exactly what the Fed will do when we have a situation where we do have a recession, whether that's next year, the year after, whenever it comes, okay? So, little food for thought there. I thought that was important. Meta. There's some things going viral out there around Meta, okay? And I really got kind of recognized to this on essentially the Verge today, which was very interesting because I think I got it suggested to me in Google, and I clicked on it, and I'm seeing like this stuff going viral. This has almost 500,000 likes on TikTok, which means the amount of views this video must have got was just sick, okay, to get that many hearts on Tiki. So essentially, a lot of these videos going viral are showing the new Meta Quest 3, which I have. I have it literally right over here. Where is it? I got it. Where is it? Oh, yeah, there it is. Here it is. There it is, okay? Meta Quest 3. I have one. Thing is freaking awesome, okay? And really cool technology that Meta's put together here. And so people are starting to make these videos in regards to Meta, kind of showing off the product overall and how cool it is. And basically, you can move the screen anywhere you want to move it. So I could have the virtual screen right here. I could put it over there in the living room. Like, literally, you can put it wherever. And so this video was kind of just showing, like, how cool it is. Like, this person was, like, in the house watching YouTube, and then they moved the screen out to, obviously, their patio over the lake and watching it there. And, you know, it's just really, really, really cool technology overall. Like, something that's just, you know, out there that you've never really seen before, right? This person actually went into a cafe wearing, and this one was on X, they posted, okay? So 3,600 hearts on that one. That's a lot, I can tell you, for X. But they're wearing the headset, okay? So they're wearing the headset like this. And basically the mixed reality is pretty phenomenal in the device. If you've experienced it, you know what I'm talking about. And they actually had the menu up there on their little digital screen, and they're ordering from their menu. And so these videos are going viral all over the place now, okay? And what's so cool about this is there's a divergence between people, right? There's some people saying, that's silly, that's so silly, right? That's so silly, that guy, why didn't he just use an iPad, right? Oh, that's so silly, like, you know, he's wearing that thing into a cafe, like, that's so silly. You have the other people saying, like, this is insane, this is like such cool technology, like, you know, mixed reality is finally here, something that, you know, you've heard a lot of hype about for the last decade, but it hasn't seemed like it's come to fruition. Now it seems like it's actually coming, right? And so the bottom line is this is the best thing that could have ever happened for the Meta Quest 3, because I don't think there's been enough hype and talk and social media attention around this device until now. The fact that all these videos are going viral, people doing this stuff, like, this is the best situation you could possibly imagine for Meta. Because, you know, the Apple device, which who knows when now will come to market, the $4,000 device thing that no one's going to be able to afford, right? A lot of people, that got a lot of people talking, a lot of attention, right? And Meta Quest 3 just seemed like it was kind of on the back burner. This is obviously flipping the script and making this like a highly, and believe me, when people see videos like this going viral on TikTok, getting millions of views, or on Twitter or Instagram or wherever, more and more people are going to make these sorts of videos, and they're going to go viral, right? Which kind of creates this infinite loop of just views, and attention, right? Which is going to turn this device, in my opinion, from like something a lot of people weren't that, or at least a lot of people on Wall Street weren't that excited about sales numbers and how those would look over the next few quarters. I think it's going to absolutely tear it up now that we have this viral moment going on. And once again, people are going to see all those views, and believe me, they're going to start making similar videos or other content regarding the device, knowing that they can get stupid views. This is social media, okay? It's the views, right? The views bring in a lot of money, attention, sponsors, advertisements, all those sorts of things, okay? And so for Meta, what a freaking phenomenal situation. Now, the stock continues to be a beast, right? And it's been a beast of a year for Meta. I mean, it seems like every day I wake up, it's like $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 for Meta. It's beautiful, right? At the end of the day, when it comes to Meta, I can't even think about selling the stock. It's so undervalued even today, folks. Even today, the stock is so incredibly undervalued, and I'm looking so forward to earnings. Meta's one of the companies I'm most confident in for this earnings season in terms of what that bottom line number is going to be, the net income, the EPS. Woo-wee. So yeah, Meta's just one of those stocks that every dip's a buying opportunity. I mean, it's just in a class of its own. I'm very happy that it's the biggest stock in the public account overall. Now, speaking about stocks that are tearing up this year, Palantir. Okay, Palantir had a good day today, up almost 3% on the stock overall. But there's starting to be a little concerns about S&P 500 inclusion, if it's actually going to come, in those sorts of things, okay? Palantir Technologies, new markets unlocked, but S&P 500 inclusion is at risk. Palantir Technologies is expanding its data analytics platform into new enterprise markets such as utilities, industrial manufacturing, and consulting sector. The company has formed partnerships with Jacobs, BP, PwC, massive, obviously accounting, one of the big four, right? Demonstrating its value in industrial settings and establishing its credibility as an enterprise software provider. Well, there are risks around reliance on investment income and macroeconomic uncertainty. Palantir's long-term prospects and competitive positioning support an investment case. Investors playing the stock for the potential of S&P 500 inclusion should take caution. Now, why did he say that? Okay, and I'll also share my perspective. The reason he said that is he said that basically, the folks that kind of decide who's going to be included in the S&P 500 or not might frown upon the fact that Palantir's gotten a lot of its bottom line gains from investment income recently. And so this gentleman's making a point, essentially, that Palantir might not get in the S&P 500 anytime soon because of the bottom line, a lot of the bottom line being in a positive place because of interest income, right? In Palantir being able to earn a lot from treasuries right now. So I think, personally, it's a potential holdback. It could hold Palantir stock back. I don't know. Okay, we'll see. I think it's a 50-50 for Palantir to get in the S&P 500 in the next 6 months, essentially. Okay, I would call it a 50-50 right now for the next 6 months. I think regardless, in the next 1 to 2 years, Palantir is getting in the S&P 500. Because the way I see their bottom line going, I don't think, that's the only argument you can make against Palantir not getting the S&P 500 right now, right? That's the only argument you make. Well, a lot of it's coming from interest income. I think within 12 to 18 months, you're not going to be able to even say that because so much profitability is just going to come from their business in general, right? So, and you could also look at stock-based compensation, how much of a problem that was in the past, and you can say, well, that's not always going to be as big of an issue for the company, SBC, right? So you can always look at these things many various ways. But my opinion still is this a 50-50 if Palantir gets an S&P 500 in the next 6 months. Now, anybody playing Palantir stock from only the perspective of, I think it's going to get an S&P, so it's going to keep moving up and these sorts of things, I think it's silly. That's an exciting thing for us shareholders, but if that's the only reason you're playing Palantir, I just think you haven't done enough study in regards to Palantir and their business opportunity, what they have going on the government side, and everything that's moving in Palantir's direction on the government side, as well as the commercial side, with everybody starting to pay attention to AI and trying to use their data they have in the company to make better decisions, and Palantir being the most well-positioned company, certainly in my opinion, in the world. I think there should be a little more study done than just, I think it's getting the S&P 500, so I want to own it. That's silly, okay? Go a little deeper than that. You might find some things that are very intriguing in regards to this company, okay? Avant Brands reported earnings, and I know a lot of people wanted my opinion in regards to Avant Brands. So first off, their revenue was up 77%. Tax is always killing these MJ companies, right? These, Jack Jackson companies. So excise tax was up 87%. Net revenue was up 76%, so very impressive number. The export in business-to-business revenue was up a shocking 243%. Year over year, right? Recreational revenue came in a very impressive, up 38%. It's just that export and B2B revenue is on a whole different level, right? Medical revenue was down, but it's a much smaller business line there, right? Management fees and other revenue down, but look at how small the numbers are. Like, this whole business is recreation and export, right? Recreation, export, B2B revenue, like that's the whole game in regards to, Avant, certainly, right? Now, gross margin before fair value adjustments was up 127% year over year, so very impressive number. Gross margin percent before fair value adjustments came in at 36%. That's up from 28% in the same quarter last year, so very impressive growth in terms of their gross margin, right? Gross margin dollars came in at $11.3 million versus $3.5 million in the same quarter last year, 225% growth. Whew. Operating expenses, Norton and the team kept things in check, only up 4% year over year. When you got these sorts of increases and only up 4% operating expenses, I think you're doing a pretty decent job. Net income or loss before income tax came in at $533,000 versus $2.1 million loss in the same quarter last year, right? So huge progress in regards to the bottom line. Adjusted net income loss came in at $1.8 million loss, right? But a lot of that was due to, these other various factors. Like, for instance, look at other income and expenses. They had a $986 million expense, which are usually like more one-off type things in this most recent quarter versus a $3.8 million gain for kind of a one-off thing there back in the same quarter last year, okay? Adjusted EBITDA, earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, amortization came in at $4.6 million versus $173,000 in the same quarter last year, which is 2,575% growth. Overall, Avant Brands, my smallest cap stock I own. I couldn't be more happy with the numbers they're putting up. The one thing I want to see for Avant Brands is I want to see net income go positive from here on out and like not even be an issue. And just, if it would be such a great thing for Avant if they could just get to net income positive and just stay there. They don't have to produce, $5 million or $10 million of net income a quarter. Like, that would be amazing if they could get to those numbers, but they don't have to do that. Just as long as that net income's positive quarter in, quarter out, there's going to be maybe a few mil of net income positive there, because that puts out the whole risk of like they have to dilute shareholder value, they have to raise money or things like that. So that's my hope in regards to Avant. It's looking more and more realistic, like they're going to get there. And so there's been a lot of disappointments in small cap land, certainly over the past 12 to 18 months. Avant's one of the very few that's putting up these numbers that are, you look at it and you're like, damn, this is freaking impressive. They're actually getting it together. So yeah, we'll see where Avant, heads out here. But, pretty exciting time, certainly. And I'm a happy shareholder. Okay. Now, in regards to Tesla, here we go. Okay. So Tesla, as far as EPS expected, 27 analysts have numbers out, 74 cents expected tomorrow, and then revenue is expected to be $24 billion tomorrow, which would only be 12.5% growth year over year, which is a horrible number for Tesla. We know the tough environment they're going through and all those sorts of things. Now, I have worries about both those numbers, to be quite honest. I have more worries about the margin number than actually the revenue number, and I have more worries about the earnings per share number than the revenue number as well. Now, I did a whole 37-minute video on Tesla a few days ago, okay? So if you want to hear my super in-depth thoughts on what's going on with Tesla for the long term and the short term, watch that video. That's going to go super in-depth into everything across the board. But I did make a pretty shocking move in regards to Tesla stock here today, okay? Did I sell my shares off? I don't know about that. And by the way, let me address one thing, because I know, that was a pretty bold call for me to make, that I'm really scared about the numbers, right? And, somebody was saying, you're going to eat crow in regards to, Tesla's earnings. And I'm going to be honest with you, my hope is I eat crow. I hope $400,000+ of shares going into these earnings, okay? So my hope is, I've already got the title ready, my hope is Tesla blasts higher in these earnings. And I come out with a video tomorrow on this channel that says, I was wrong. That is my hope, okay? I would love Tesla to be up 10% after hours tomorrow. If Tesla's up 10% after hours, do the math on that. I'll be up $40,000+ tomorrow after hours. So my hope is I eat crow. My hope is I'm wrong. My hope is earnings per share knock it out of the ballpark. My hope is a conference call is great, revenue is great, guidance is great. I hope that happens, but I'm not confident, folks, at all. And so my hope is tomorrow I come out with a video, I was wrong. Now, in regards to what I did with the stock here today, I went ahead and I actually hedged against Tesla, okay? I went ahead and I bought $8,500 roughly worth of put option contracts on Tesla. These expire September 20th, 2024. They're $255 strike prices, okay? So basically my break even on these babies is, we can call it like $212, $213, something like that. So let's call it $212. So in order for me to break even, Tesla would have to be $212 come that date. Now, will I hold it to expiration date? I might not, okay? Let's assume Tesla earnings are bad tomorrow. A lot of people sell the stock. A lot of Wall Street sells the stock. And let's just say Tesla stock goes down, I don't know, 20%, let's say, for instance, over the next 2 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever, okay? I could easily probably move out of that Tesla position there because the gains on that at that point in time would probably be anywhere between 50 and 100%. So there would be an easy opportunity for me to move out of that position and then hedge against something else in the market that might be more attractive, or go ahead and buy shares of either Tesla or something else at that potential time, right? So the way I always look at these hedges is this is portfolio insurance. This is portfolio insurance for me, and I want to have my little insurance out there, right? Now, also, if Tesla goes up, I'll continue to have this hedge on in 2024, right? Because I need all these hedges for 2024 just in case the market, let's just call it, goes down substantially, right? Which is obviously a fear of mine because I think there's several different ways on how this can go. Now, if you're wondering, am I going to be live streaming Tesla earnings tomorrow? Oh, absolutely on the Twitch channel. It's going to be insanity tomorrow on the Twitch channel. I can tell you that. That's pinned comment to join me for that one. It's going to be insane, folks. I mean, today was busy on there. I can only imagine tomorrow. The chat is going to be going absolutely wild tomorrow because I'm going to react to the earnings. I'll react to Netflix earnings and the other companies as well on tomorrow's live stream. But Tesla, obviously, we're going to go through the earnings, and then I'll likely listen to a conference call while I'm on there as well live, which is going to be huge. So tomorrow's live stream might end up being like I don't know. We'll see. It might end up being like a 3-hour beast live stream. But oh my gosh, is it going to be crazy on Twitch tomorrow? So yeah, if you want to see there, obviously the whole earnings and me react to it in live time, I'm going to put together a beast video for you guys tomorrow night in regards to a wrap up, in regards to everything Tesla wise, regardless if the stock tanks or goes up a bunch. But yeah, if you want my live reaction on everything that's going on, then definitely follow me on Twitch. As pinned comment down there. It's going to be insanity, folks. I can tell you that. And that live stream is going to be wild tomorrow. Absolutely wild, okay? Now, safety stocks. I checked these babies out today. They're still getting hit, and it's brutal. Campbell's, Flippin' Flapjack, and Soup down again today. Clorox down again today. PepsiCo down again today. The General Mills down again today. Kraft Heinz down again today. Like I said with these stocks, man, lot of tax loss harvesting still coming in these babies, and that's going to hold these stocks back for the next several months up until the end of this year. Basically, it's going to continue to hold back these stocks. Now, good news is my wife's trying to bail y'all out. Okay, she bought 3 massive bottles of Heinz. The only problem with that is it helps out short-term numbers, but now I probably don't need no damn ketchup in this house for like the next year and a half, okay? We'll probably be good for a while. So she bailed you all out short-term, but you might still have problems long-term in regards to that. But yeah, dividend opportunities all over this market, and there's going to continue to be dividend opportunities all over this market for this next. We got about 50 trading days left in the year. For these last 50 trading days, yeah, there's going to be dividend opportunities every freaking where, okay? Appreciate everybody joining me as always. Thanks so much for being here, folks. Thank you for being subscribed. Thank you everybody that follows me on Twitch as well. Tomorrow's live stream is going to be freaking insane, okay? Make sure you get on there. That's pinned comment down there. It's going to be wild, folks. The chat's going to be crazy. Much love as always, and have a great day.